from SCFB and is active researcher in the area of fintech. This is a bit, I think it's a bit new. This is new area, so I hope everybody can have benefit from this talk. So Dr. Muhaizam will deliver a talk on blockchain and crypto assets in fintech. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Muhaizam to deliver his talk for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Faisal. Okay, let me share my screen if possible. Okay, I don't know if I can share the sound also. Okay, share computer. Okay, all right. Inshallah. Okay, so can you see my screen, Prof. Madya, Dr. Muhammad Faisal?
Yep. Okay.
Okay, inshallah we can start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning to a fellow audience. This morning, a very wonderful Sunday morning. All right, I give you a good what we call teach the tech session with me on this topic called blockchain and crypto assets in fintech. This is a talk by organized by the Innovation Center of and Commercialization Center of UUM, Innovation and Commercialization Center in UUM. I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to give a talk of this particular topic. And as you all know that my background school is not IT. However, when talking about this innovation, which is what you call, is interesting to explore as a researcher, as well as getting into yourself into the commercialization idea. And for you to actually know how exactly a digital economy can actually transpire individually by yourself through a unique approach, which I'm going to explain later at the end of this presentation. So I hope this 1 hour presentation will not bore you, and I hope you all will stay until the end of this presentation. Okay, a disclaimer first. This presentation is for academic purpose and not an investment advice. You are advised to consider the risk investing in any assets, as you may face losses in your investment. A little bit, thank you for giving a brief explanation about myself, but let me say something first. I am a lecturer, senior lecturer in the Department of Banking and Risk Management from SCFB, UUM. And I studied Islamic finance from INSEF and received PhD there in the area of banking regulation. I am also a content creator on YouTube channel. So I have a channel YouTube, which you all can later scan in the QR code here. And you can follow all the online materials I share in my channel called Digital Education Academy, which I created it since 2018. And I am actually an enthusiast about technology use in the Industrial Revolution 4.0, and I share my thoughts in my social media forum about digital economy. So recently, I have received a certificate when I complete online training with Wharton University of Pennsylvania in this topic called Fintech Foundation and Application of Financial Technology. So this presentation will be based on what I have learned and actually practice with this knowledge that I acquired. So the outline of today's presentation, if you could see here, is a little bit of what is fintech is all about. Of course, everyone would have their own definition of what fintech is, but let me give you what exactly it's about and the pillars under it. And after that, we learn how blockchain is and how it works. And then, after we understand how it works, then I can give a talk about crypto asset, how it is identified as digital asset. And I will share with you what you call how you can actually commercialize in blockchain. We have this digital asset called NFT, non-fungible token. And this is very interesting for you to try it out on yourself. And later, I will talk about the regulation of digital asset in Malaysia. As you all know that my background is on banking regulation. So of course, I will not far away going without talking about regulation. And I will have a briefing what is the digital asset exchanges available in this country. And finally, I hope those who still in this presentation, let us look at a simple demonstration on using digital asset exchange Luno. Okay, this is one of the we call approved DEX that Securities Commission of Malaysia approved to operate in Malaysia. Okay, so the main introduction of fintech is that we look at what the goals of this fintech is about. So first of all, when we look into fintech, it's about reducing transaction or service costs. So meaning in any financial service that operates, we call this legacy system. When in banking, we have two different systems used right now. First is the legacy system, which normally the banking operation use. And we have another system called the digital banking. This is where the fintech plays a role, which reduces the transaction costs or service costs operating with these services. And second, in fintech, it used to reach a wider market segments, and it would be unpractical or uneconomic to engage while using the legacy system. Because in legacy system, the banks or the financial service have to be physically there or have to be a physical presence to what we call send people to sell the product and so on. But in the digital banking or the digital environment, the fintech cuts the time and also the effort to reach out more people, more segments, because of it can be we call difference in distance and difference in areas, rural areas especially, where it's physically hard to go in. But with technology, with internet connection, it's possible to reach out many people in larger areas. The third objective is that in fintech, it takes the advantage of the economic of scales. Meaning that when a product is introduced, it makes larger probability to reach more customers, to reach more clients, and thus it reduces the cost for a certain product to reach the intended targets for sales and so on. So that is what fintech is about. That's why more financial service try to utilize this technology in their products and services. The fourth objective that can be achieved with technology in finance is that it improves the customer experience, because we know that many customers are using or now have their own in their own hands smartphones, and with the right tools and the right we call this technology in communication, for example the 5G technology, which in Malaysia is already in the implementation in certain cellular service providers. More data can be given from the smartphone, and more application can be run in the smartphone with this technology speed, the 5G technology. For example, the facial recognition, the voice recognition. So it's all about the tools that is available being made with what the customer is using right now. And finally, the objective that can be achieved in fintech is you can have a more segmenting of marketplaces. So instead, in the legacy system, you have a traditional, for example, people working in professional areas, people with family, or they are bachelor. So those are the traditional segments. But in fintech, it can be made in different segments based on their social behavior. For example, in the social media, the people share certain interests. So, for example, they like things, pictures that they share in the social media. So from there, the data is captured from the internet, and fintech utilizes it to create a new segment of customer. This is what fintech use. So the next thing I want to explain to you, in banking, in finance, we have, in the legacy system, we have complex payment system, which if you look in the screen, we have several steps in payments. For example, you want to authorize payments, right, to one party, for example, from the buyer to the seller. They want to authorize first, and then it goes to the authentication process to authenticate whether the transaction is valid or not. And then it goes to the third process, the clearing and settlement. So all in all, in the financial environment, payment system, it takes a while for this simple transaction to actually finish. And with this transaction, it comes a cost. For example, how many people spend their time in the banks, in the back office, to verify transaction, to make payment system settle. And if you look at the local payment system in Malaysia, our system of payment system is being managed by PayNet, which is the Payment Network Malaysia Sdn Bhd. You can see the FPX and all the ATMs. So those are being managed by PayNet. But when we talk about the cross-border payment, for example, people in Malaysia want to buy goods from overseas. So they want to transfer payments to overseas, and they use SWIFT for the cross-border payments. And it gives this one problem in all the legacy system, the cost burden on merchant, the providers of these services to the customer. It takes a certain amount of money from each transaction to be committed and to be paid by the merchant. And this is where fintech comes in, and this is where blockchain will come in to solve this issue of payment and time. Because in the legacy system, every transaction, we don't talk about hundreds of transactions done every day. We talk about thousands, and different location and different accounts. So it is about the volume, the masses involved in this transaction, and to authenticate each transaction in the legacy system, it takes time. So there is a way in blockchain used by certain central bank to minimize this and to reduce the cost and to make the transaction more pleasant and convenient. So less headache. So this is what fintech is. So if you look in this chart, let me say that there are several areas which you can discover. One of the area is I start with the big data first, and then we also have artificial intelligence, where most of the use of uh, automation can be done, decision making can be done. Blockchain, which the topic that we are going to discuss today, and then insurtech, where all the insurance contract use the technology to have it done digitally and more convenience to customer. We also have payments and lending platform. So in banks, these payment and lending platforms is prominent to use fintech approach because of the cost burden, to reduce the cost as what I explained, and to reduce the time. And also in payments and lending platform, there is another fintech area which can be explored, which we talk about how the funding, how we call monies can be collected using the crowdsourcing instead of the banks pooling their we call activities of raising fund in the money market. So in fintech, there is another alternative. Instead of banks collecting money from deposits of customers, another area is called crowdfunding, where people contribute money to certain companies that wants to startups needs funding, so uses the payment and lending platform. And finally, robo-advising and automated customer service management. So these are things that you can see in fintech nowadays. Now, in a simple word, financial technology or fintech is what is called in this area. And my slides, on this fintech area, you look at so many things that is happening around the financial world. But we can say that among these activities, banking, credit cards, and securities, most controversial to be talked about is this topic or this area called cryptocurrency, which is something where not all country agrees to it. Even the central bank, they refuse the use of cryptocurrency as part of a legal tender in the country, because in cryptocurrency, the idea of having this asset is to take away the roles of regulators to regulate the we call how currency is being controlled, how the value is being controlled. So taking away from regulators means that is want to decentralize this asset from the control of certain central bank and let the public use, and the value of this asset is determined by the public. So that's the main proponents of cryptocurrency. So for today, as you already being exposed to what is fintech is about, so we can talk a little bit what blockchain is. So if you look at this definition, it's something to do about cryptography. So if you look into the word cryptography, it's not a new word, or it's not something that suddenly comes out. If you look in the World War One or World War Two, any messages that someone want to convey to another party, they have to use the cryptograph to make the message that they want to send to another party to be decrypted. So it's not easy to be translated, right? So that is the words cryptography comes. So the blockchain helps to translate the messages into, denotes it into, we call mathematical numbers, which we will learn later what these mathematical numbers can be represent. Okay. Now, in every word, the blockchain, it simply straightforward. Is considered two combination, block and chains. So means that if you look at the word I've given here, it is actually something that every transaction that wants to be communicated from one person to another will be compiled in a blocks. So, for example, you have transactions you want to transmit to another party. So you compile those information, and then it will also be transmitted to another party. But in order for this block to be authenticated, so this is where the word chains come in. Now, why we have chains in these messages is because every message that is being received must be verified with a certain authority, right? So this is the chains that must be, we call, tied up with each transaction and to be verified. So for example, if one person want to send a message to another person, so in order for the receiver to ensure that this is the right message received and to be decrypted. So first thing is encryption, right? You have to encrypt, but when it comes to decryption, so the receiver must ensure that this is the right message to be encrypted, and the receiver must know it truthfully by looking at the chains, means that who verifies it. So if it meets the certain requirement of the chain, for example, this block is being verified by this chain, is identified by the system. So then the messages that is to be received is verified with the right chain. So to give a better examples, let us look at the words of Rasulullah, the Prophet word, the Sunnah, right? So because I studied Islamic finance, so all the Sunnah must have a valid, we call, who says this, according to whom says this, right? So if the chain of verifiers of what the Prophet words does, or what the acts that is being done by the Prophet is correct, it must be verified by many people. The chain of this statement is verified by many people. So when there are many verifiers, and then it can be considered correct. So that is how you can consider how does these chains work. So the next thing we want to look is in the blockchain, it deals with encryption of data. So in every encryption, there are, we call, algorithm. This is where the technology comes in. So don't be afraid of learning this word. This is very straightforward. Algorithm is simply a computer language used to understand what the message will be. For example, if I speak in Malay, so of course, the language that will be written is in Malay language, right? So if I speak in Chinese, or if I speak in different languages, so the way of writing is also different, but the message is the same. The translation is the same. So the algorithm represent different computer languages, and for blockchain itself, it distinguishes this language algorithm into how many data can be compiled in one time. So this is where looks into the hash function. So one of the we call a very famous algorithm used in the blockchain is the SHA-256. So the SHA-256 is an algorithm that is being used to decrypt and encrypt Bitcoin transaction. So let us look at one example. I'm going to click this site, and we're going to see how this SHA-256 is going to look like. Okay, so this is the first blockchain activity, if you want to know. So this is a website I want to demonstrate. So in this cryptographic hash algorithm, let's say we have a message we want to give. Let's say this message is my name. Okay, so if you look at the message, underneath the message is hash, and in the hash box is represented by we call numbers and combination of numbers.
Dr. Muazzam,
Yes.
Dr. Muazzam, sorry to interject. Could you please share with us the link for
Okay.
just put in the chat, okay, so
Okay.
that we can browse through. Thank you.
Okay. 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 Hold on. This copy and then chat. Okay. So if you look here, represented by numbers and figures. So this is hash, okay, in the algorithm. So if I put my name, it changes, right? So if I encrypt this, my name, and this is considered what we call message that is going to be decrypted, and I will want to send more things. So for example, if I have a smart contract, and in this smart contract consists of details of, for example, the buyer of a certain, for example, two parties in the contract, right? The one that is going to be the buyer and one is to be the seller. So all this will be inputted in here in the messages. So when you type all this, so it's going to convert the messages into hash. And this is where the SHA-256 comes in, is going to be transmitted to the receiver. And this is what blockchain is. Okay, you want to convert the messages or smart contracts using the SHA-256 platform, and then you want to send it to the receiver. All right. So this is a good exercise for you to show this to people who wants to understand what blockchain is about. And then certain sources of software and coding, if you want to explore more, is easily available in the website called GitHub. So again, let me, sorry, I'm going to share the screen again. Okay, so this GitHub, if you search, okay, in the Google, you find it. So GitHub is the sources of, for example, software developers, or whoever wants to learn about blockchain, um, and using the blockchain technology to come up with a certain projects and activities, they use GitHub to get the sources of coding. Because in blockchain, you don't create something new. You innovate what you have and use the coding to put, for example, you want to create a certain projects. Inside there, it's important to have the name of the projects and also the receiver of the account. So you use GitHub to get the coding, the sources, and then you modify, you innovate it so that it suits to your needs. Okay. Then, after we understand about this software and coding, it's free. You don't need to pay. So if someone asks you to pay for this technology, then it's about you just being fooled by them. Because in the community or the Discord that is available talking about blockchain, the community itself helps each other to learn and to get transaction. The only thing that certain people or certain software require is we call certain fee charges. For example, if you want to use a certain software to run your projects or to run your blockchain program, so you have to pay certain fee, and this fee is not being paid in PayPal on everything. Because why? PayPal is the legacy part. You don't use those payment system, but in this Discord, they would like to be paid in cryptocurrency. So later on, I will share with you how to create a wallet, because in blockchain, it's important to have a digital wallet. If you don't have a digital wallet, then you cannot transact, or you cannot have a activity in the blockchain itself to be received and to pay. So next, how does a transaction in blockchain how does a transaction gets into the blockchain? So this is the question. Many people want to understand how this blockchain works exactly. So if you look, very simple, in the legacy system, in the payment system, if one wants to, or someone wants to transfer money, they just go to online banking, and then they just input the account number, right, and put the amount, so they transfer it. So in blockchain itself, okay, it receives the transaction. For example, just now I show you how does the SHA-56 works, 256 works. You have something you want to transact. So in every time you want to transact, you send it to the we call system. For example, you want to have some transaction in Bitcoin. So you want to transact. So you give the amount of how much you want to transact and to where you want to put this Bitcoin to, the wallet account, the wallet number. So in every transaction, it's going to be sent in blocks. So remember, it's not individually being compiled. It's being collected as a block. So you have to wait for certain period of time for the system to work. But the waiting of the time is much faster then you transact in the legacy system. So imagine if you are working in United States of America, you want to send money back home in Malaysia. People in the United States, they don't go to the Western Union to send money to people outside the country, for example, Malaysia, because it takes time for the process to complete in the cross-border payment, right? The remittance, the international remittance, and it costs the people, right? So with blockchain, you just enter the amount of how much you want to send and where is the wallet, and then you go to the next level where each transaction will go into different node. Node is a term called to represent the computers, because why? In blockchain technology, there are certain mode that it can be handled. And a working paper by Satoshi Nakamoto talk about this Bitcoin to use. So in order for this transaction to be verified, so it used the concept of proof of work, POW. So in order for this chain to be verified, it requires verification from different nodes. So this is where computers come in. And this is where what computers to be used to verify. Of course, it is not just a simple computer. There are certain criteria for the blockchain system to use the nodes. And this system of computer, usually they use for SHA-256, they use algorithm program that must be run by computer graphic card. So for example, the GPUs, yeah, graphic card processing unit. So that is where those gamers, students that have this gaming software, they use their computer graphic card to play it. So this is where the gamers, students, they can actually make money. So with this computer that have the graphic card, they can be considered as a node. Then the nodes will validate the transaction. And after these nodes, this is where the concept of miners comes in. So every nodes will make the effort to validate, right? The computer will make effort to validate this transaction. So what will be compensated for the proof of work that the nodes have done to validate this? So they will receive a reward. And usually this reward is typically in the form of Bitcoin, if the algorithm is SHA-256. And after it finishes, then after that, validate, and then after that, it will update this information to the right owner of the account, and then the transaction is completed. Means that the money to be received is verified, and then the recipient will receive the coins at the end. So it's a simple creation of creation stage, and after that, validation of the what we call transaction, and finally it ends up with the recipient receiver. Okay. So this is the part where things gets more interesting. What is crypto asset? So when I define certain asset, I want everyone to get a very clear idea. So it's not easy for someone to say, I have this asset and I want someone to buy. Because we have all the scammers, Now people wants to claim that they have these good things and please buy. No. And this is where the Securities Commission comes in to protect the customer rights. And that's why in order for us to venture into research of innovation as well as commercialization, we have to adhere to the current regulatory environment, regulatory framework. So this is where Securities Commission of Malaysia gives a definition what is crypto assets is about. And under their definition, which SC already given in their framework, anything that is traded, it will fall under the securities law. And if an asset is treated as straight away they want to buy certain things in the market, for example nasi lemak kan, so one pays Bitcoin as legal tender, so this is not being well accepted in this country because Bank Negara Malaysia does not consider crypto asset as a legal tender. It still accept Malaysia ringgit as the only legal tender in Malaysia, and that's why if you want to look into crypto asset, we have to look at this definition. So let me just give something clear here. Bank Negara Malaysia is actually introducing a digital currency, which is different than crypto asset. And this digital currency is in the workings with not only Bank Negara but also in other central bank under the purview of the Bank of International Settlement, the BIS. So they will come out with a digital currency which will help customer to use it as a cross-border transaction and payment system acceptable globally. So you have these two situations. One, it is crypto asset is considered an asset, a security, okay, because it is being traded, right? And another one, for the payment to be used as daily payment, so you must fulfill certain laws that is under the Bank Negara jurisdiction. And Bank Negara jurisdiction does not allow any other currency other than Malaysia ringgit as a legal tender. So you have to be very clear. The standpoint of crypto asset is that's why when I talk about cryptocurrency, I don't recognize it as cryptocurrency because the word currency actually is being speculated because people want to make crypto as something valuable. So if you don't treat it as currency, people wouldn't buy the idea of accepting crypto as something that is valuable. That's why you have to look, when you want to innovate, you have to look at the regulatory requirement. So we must treat crypto as assets. And what can we define assets, a crypto asset? We look into this slide. So as prescribed by the Securities Commission, a digital asset is prescribed in these two situations. Number one is that it is being traded. It must be traded on a recognized market. So in Malaysia, we have a recognized market. We have the digital exchange, digital asset exchanges. There are three predominantly. So we will explain the DEX later. And second point is that it represents a certain interest or a particular arrangement. So it must have certain requirement fulfills as considered to be considered as a digital asset. And this is all you can find in the SC digital asset framework. So for example, if someone wants to raise funding and then claim that this is something called initial coin offering. They simply claim it is a initial coin offering because they say we have a digital platform, we have a digital ledger technology, the DLT, so and so. However, if you look into whether these projects is being registered with Securities Commission or not, they say they don't register with SC because they say it is an international project. So you have to be very careful. If they say that, then you as an investor in Malaysia, you are not protected by the law. An investor must always find protection of their money under the current regulatory enforcer, for example, Securities Commission and Bank Negara. So any projects, especially the crowdfunding project, they must have what we call exchanges, legal exchanges, and then they are registered with the SC to operate in Malaysia as one of the operators in the digital asset. We have many terms that can be used. For example, utility token. If someone want to sell a token, certain projects is related to electricity, so it's called utility. But does it being registered with SC or not? Because it deals with the public money investment. So you have to check this requirement. Okay. So please look into this. So the question whether or not the NFT, the non-fungible token, is considered a valid digital asset or not, then you have to look into this situation, which is being described as digital asset. So for NFT, we look at the definition of NFT because NFT is something that everyone does. That can be done by anyone. Okay, that can be done by anyone and can be traded by people in the digital platform, and to receive compensation, or to say what you call the simplest word is commercialize their idea, and someone willing to buy or to purchase it, but it's in the digital platform. So we look at the definition of NFT. So NFT is calling about a simple data stored on a digital ledger called the blockchain, and then it actually consists of encryption of photos, or you want to encrypt videos, or you want to encrypt anything that is creative. For example, you have, someone wants to sell pictures that they draw, but they don't want to sell it just for fun. They want to encrypt it and to be created these pictures as a digital asset. And this is where the NFT comes in. It allows the creators to convert the picture that they draw into a token that can be sold in many platforms. So let me give a simple example. Now, there was we call an art being sold in the as an NFT, and this art, the value is 69 million US dollar, and it is a JPEG. So let's look at this article. So if you look, this is where you can innovate and go into we call commercialization. So this is the picture called Every Day, the First 5,000 Days. So this picture is a JPEG compiled, right? And then the artists, they convert this picture into an NFT. And then it is sold in the platform. We have a different platform as being written later. So it valued at auction by Christie. Christie is one of the auctioneer worldwide, okay? the global auctioneer have sold this at the value of $69 million. So imagine that you have an artwork, you can convert this into NFT, and then you make money. So according to Al Jazeera, now where does this can be sold? Okay, because if you're going to have this cost of creating NFT, it's going to be one day cost. So let me tell you, this Al Jazeera article, I will share this in the chat. Okay, so have a look later on. So it can be sold in a platform called OpenSea. OpenSea, rarible and mintable. And also this NBA Top Shot. So it's like a Shopee platform. You have some items you want to sell, then you want to give it to the sellers, so you go to this platform. So for NFT, these are the legitimate platform. So don't go for those illegitimate platform because you would not get the right buyer interested to buy at a higher amount, higher volume. So OpenSea is a platform, but when you go and create your NFT token, you need to pay certain fee, and this fee you have to pay in crypto asset, for example, Bitcoin. So that's why let me talk about how does this consensus happens in a little bit of time. So we have like 6 minutes, right? Betul tak, Dr. Faizal? How long do we have?
Yeah, we still have time. Carry on, carry on.
Okay. So here, in all the transaction, for example, you have the NFT you want to sell, or you have a coin you want to transfer. All this must have consensus, means that it must be validated. All the chain in the transaction that we saw, right? It must be having the right consensus, and this is why in this technology, blockchain, it have components that needs to be verified. So it's not that they working without risk. They have risk because in the digital world, there are so many people that wants to profit in this transaction. For example, phishing, because one hacker, okay, computer hacker, they can go into any computer and they hack if you leave your computer unsecured. So same goes as in the blockchain environment. If you don't give the right protection, the right encryption, the right nodes to verify the having the right consensus, then all this will not happen the right way. And that is why the environment of blockchain, they have provided certain security measures in order to avoid the attack by those people that want to make money. For example, there were one situation where a certain wallet was being hacked, and the amount of Bitcoin that was stolen, it was huge. Incidents happened. So there was a situation where someone hacked to the account and get all the coins out. So you have to be very thoughtful what can happen in the digital world. So that's why when you have a wallet, you can consider to have different type of wallet. For example, you can have a hard wallet where you transfer the coins that you receive into a physical location. For example, you put it on a ledger, physical ledger, which usually this physical ledger that captures the coding of the coin, into, usually it is in the USB drive, we call ledger. Or you can put it in a soft wallet, but you protect the wallet with a certain security measures, right? That's where you have your keywords to be kept separately. Or you can also have your coins to be put on a paper wallet, where you print out the transaction into a paper. But this is the situation. If someone forgets the password, how can you open up the wallet at the end? So this is where the risk comes in. If you lost your wallet, you cannot go to the customer service because there are no customer service to help you restore the wallet address, password, wallet password. So please be aware of this. So in order to have a consensus, distributed consensus, this is where you look into how can it works. How can a chain be verified? So we call a software that runs the Bitcoin software, and this is where, when I give you an example of in GitHub, so I give you the software. So I have my students share this with me. So if you look here, so this is what is happening in a node. So my student is running a mining machine using graphic card. So in this mining machine, it is running the consensus work. So for example, it received a job for the graphic card to run the programming and to complete the job. And what does this job means? Because in every transaction, it must be verified by the nodes, that's what I say, the nodes. And when it completes the job, right, for example, this one, receive new job, okay? So when receive new job, the computer, the graphic card will process it, blah, blah, blah. And then once it's completed, then it receives the coins as a reward for mining it. So you look here, in this algorithm, it consists of the hash power. How is the speed to process? So different graphic card will have a different processing power, and also the power that is being used and how efficient the power is being used. So the higher the speed that the graphic card has, the more coins it can generate. And but basically the idea of how a miner receive a coin after the work is done, let me share you the slide. Basically, it under the proof of work, in order to have a distributed consensus, so it use proof of work to generate randomness, and every consensus will have an incentive for the incentive to give incentive for honest behavior. So it means that to avoid people from hacking the system, instead of having people to hack the system, the Bitcoin algorithm, the Bitcoin works, they give benefit to people to make consensus of the transaction happen, and to solve when a problem, a computer problem that the Bitcoin gives to solve by the nodes, the whoever that managed to solve the puzzle, this is where the compensation comes in, because it's not simply generating the coins. Okay, every nodes that is working, they are actually trying to solve the problem that is generated by the transaction. So when the computer program able to solve the algorithm problem, then these nodes will receive the compensation for completing the puzzle. So they get the rewards based on completing the puzzle. And that is why one computer cannot mine itself. A computer must use a pool to work as a team. So for example, this student, they have a pool of nodes, and then every computer will, in this pool, will join venture together to solve the problem together. So once the pool finish the job, means that it will get reward whether or not the pool managed to solve the computer computation or not. So that's why sometimes when you look into the motivation of people going into mining, there are certain consideration. The computer used for mining and also the pool that they went into to mine together with other miners. Okay, so now let us look at the final presentation. Who or what is the stakeholders in Malaysian blockchain environment? So we have so many regulators involved. We have Bank Negara, we have SC, we have MITE, okay, we have MITI, we have also Malaysian Standards Malaysia to provide the blockchain standards in Malaysia. We have Magic, right, to help for the startups. And also recently, we have Nano Malaysia, which always going to go into this innovation in the industry 4.0. So here, we have to look at those stakeholders in order for us to give our ideas towards improving the, enhancing the blockchain environment. So these are the things that you can look into, the stakeholders available. So I have explained the digital asset regulation. So that is why we have to look here. And I give you one situation. Okay, Dr. Faizal, can I go to the question Q&A here by
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Ali
sure.
Manura? Okay.
Sure.
We look at the question posted. Layers of security in digital currency. Usually, if one want to look into the security, okay, usually look at the digital asset exchange security. For example, Luno. So if you want to log in, and in Luno, they will ask to enter the password and also to enter the password that is being sent to the Gmail or the email account that we registered with Luno. So I think that is the security layers that is being put out by these digital asset exchanges. So not so much, because why? They have to look at the customer experience also, the user experience, the UX, IX, of this platform. So they don't want people or customer to having a headache to enter into their account. The only thing that we have to be very aware is that the security, if you lose your password, how you want to retain. So certain uh, wallet, they can give you back the security, but certain other wallets, for example, the hard wallet that you put in the ledger, if you lost the hard ledger, the hard wallet, the ledger, your USB, if you lost, you cannot retrieve it back.
Hello, Dr. Maizam, are you still there? Hello, Dr. Maizam. Okay, please wait for a while. Azri, please contact Dr. Moizam. What happening actually?
Okay, okay, sure, sure.
While we're waiting, I have add link for the software that Dr. Moizam mentioned just now is an excavator. So you can go to the GitHub. Then probably if you want to install, I think it's very straightforward. It is standalone application and you can just simply install. Yeah. I think based on the GitHub website here, actually it's just running the command screen. Actually a black and white screen only. It's actually a terminal screen. Okay, in the meantime, while we are contacting Dr. Mohizam, do you have any questions? So feel free to put in the chat. Maybe we can forward the question to Dr. Mohizam while he is rectifying his network.
He tried to reconnect again. There's some problem with connections.
Okay, thank you, Azri. So far, any question from the floor? Any question from the audience? Maybe you can put it there in the chat. Okay, Dr. Mohizam is back. So over to
Yeah.
you.
Saya rasa that's all I want to say because I think the computer also give indication to stop the presentation.
But just now I saw from the description, I mean from the content that you show early in the presentation, there's some demo on Ludo. If you can share with
Okay,
us on that
okay.
software, then
Boleh, boleh.
even better.
Okay, I give you the idea first. Now, anyone can go into the uh, blockchain activity, but once have to create a digital wallet. So when you want to transact in Bitcoin or want to transact in crypto asset, you must have this wallet. And when you want to create a wallet, you must ensure as a customer, okay, you have to look into the country's customer protection. So you can open in any wallet, there's no problem. But for me, it's better to open a wallet recognized by Securities Commission. And in my slide, which I try to finish, there are three recognized digital asset exchanges, the DEX. And one of the DEX is called Luno, Luno. So what I'm going to share with you is how to create a wallet. Okay. So this is the activity. The first stage that you want to enter into blockchain to earn more, because why? If you interested to mine, to have we call go into blockchain, how to see the transaction, you can just use your computer that you have, or you can ask your student that play games at home, okay, that have graphic card, and then you can start it as one of the initial step to go into the blockchain transaction. So okay, this is the screen. So first all the address is here, you know. So this is the address. And basically you go into sign up. So when you want to sign up, okay, you use my call let's say I share you with the code lah. So this is the second security measure. So they will send you a code in the this one. Okay. Now, of course, here in a wallet, okay, you verify your wallet. So if you want to create a wallet here, you use my code. This is my invite code. So if you have it, the code, I paste it here. Okay. So open the Luno website and enter this code. Okay. And then you can get 25 ringgit when you deposit 250 ringgit. If you open and want to get the free money. Okay. But let's start here. In Luno, we have 4 coins that is available to transact. Okay, three coins. Bitcoin, XRP, and also Litecoin. So these are the 3 coins that is available to be transact. And if you want someone to send to you, recipient, right? So of course you click here. For example, Bitcoin. You want to send or you want to receive. So of course you want to create the address to be sent. Okay. So I will click if I want someone to send me coins, Bitcoin, for example, I will click here, the receive coin. Okay, click here, account. I don't have any Bitcoin address, so I click the receive address, for example. Give you another example, other coins available. I have Litecoin. I recently withdraw certain Litecoin. Why I choose LTC is because it's the cheapest in terms of the requirement to transfer from one wallet to another. Okay, so this is to receive address. So that's why you get a number. This is your wallet address number, and so on. Okay, so this is what you can do once you have a wallet. So let's say that your student or you have someone that have a graphic card. Let's say I have a student, okay, having to mine. So this student, they use a software that they get to mine, and this software is called Nice Hash. Okay, it's simply plug and play, because that's why the most interesting part for any people that wants to go into this activity of Bitcoin, blockchain activity, they first start with the acquiring the coins first, right? And then they can go into the NFT, how to create the non-fungible token and so on, because you need certain coins first to pay in order for you to sell the NFT later. So this is why I give you the demo. Create the wallet, and I suggest in Luno. Okay, not because of this we call I have account I open here. No, it's because it's recognized by Securities Commission, and I have tried out, and so far it takes a certain time, not so fast as other wallet, for example Binance. I know that certain people that already use wallet, they have Binance, and recently the Securities Commission Malaysia already issued a public notice of banning Binance. Because why? Binance is not registered in Malaysia. They simple. They don't have license to operate in Malaysia. And this is where you use Luno example. There are another 2 token. For example, wallet is tokenized, right? Is one wallet that you can open, but I never open it out. So I give you example how to transfer. Let's say this is your recipient. Okay, I have this wallet. I want to receive in Litecoin. Example. So I will save here, receive the address here. This is the copy of address. And I will transfer from another wallet. Let's say I open my students' mining software, and usually this mining software, they give the software for free to mine. Okay, this is a software. I open back. Okay. So for this software to use, every token that is being mined, the miners have to pay 0.65%. So this is the software. Okay, they run. And in looking at the transaction, okay, they open up NiceHash. So this is a software provider, NiceHash. Okay. And look into the dashboard and everything. So what they do is that they look into how much they get. Okay, for example, in total, the student have 104 ringgit 67 cent, right? That's I think the student one day.
Dr. Mariza, sorry,
Yes.
sorry to interject. Just now you were showing us about the nice hash, and another one is the excavator, right?
Yes, excavator.
So I figure out there's a version in a GitHub. So this is the one which is a web-based version.
Yes, correct.
Another one in GitHub is a standalone one.
Yes, so you can have
Okay.
a
Right.
standalone. You run the software. However, if you have a standalone software, for example, Gminer, so you can use that software, but they also require you to enter your wallet address. So that's why if you have any software, you need to know which wallet to enter. But in Luno, you cannot use it to enter the address for mining. So any person who mines, usually they use a software provider. So if I use or I want someone to pay me, I will use Luno and then give you the address. Okay, this address. So first start with opening a wallet. Okay, and then after you get coins, you can actually use this coin, okay, to actually purchase other coins. For example, you want to use Luno to purchase Bitcoin, so you can use this platform. But in the standalone software, you cannot enter the wallet address here because it requires a minimum unit. For Luno, they don't specify how many, so that's why I don't want to lose my the coins, right? Because don't meet the minimum requirement. But for other software providers, for example, NiceHash, they already plug and play. You don't need to go and enter into the software coding to put in the wallet or what. You just run the software from NiceHash and then say whether or not your computer are able to mine or not. And then they just ask you to click on in their run program. And then if your computer are able to run to mine the mining machine, then you will ask to open the account with NiceHash. So here I give you the example how this NiceHash can able to transfer. So assuming that you or the miners have this amount of money, so the first stage is, of course, I ask the student to explain to me. So first stage, the student say, go to the dashboard. You can you want to transfer from this mining software into Luno wallet. So what it will do, you can straight away send this Bitcoin to Luno wallet. However, it has a certain amount. For example, we call this in Bitcoin the amount of Satoshi. Okay, so Bitcoin have their own unit of measurement. Okay, so usually this smallest amount of unit measurement is 0.000 until the 91. Okay, so 7 decimal point. But each decimal point is representing some value. So for example, right now, this amount, okay, have a value of, let me go into the student mining. He already, one day, he can get 66 ringgit, which is equivalent to 0.00035 BTC per day. So imagine, this student have a mining machine, computer, mining machine, graphic card only. Oh, imagine, you can commercialize yourself. So one element of commercialization is building a graphic processing unit, a computer that have the computing power to mine Bitcoin or to mine whatever coins that is available. All right, just have what you call a graphic card. For example, there are two brands, Nvidia and also AMD. So ask, if you have a children that plays game, ask them, can I borrow your computer game if you don't use? Because I want to use to get cryptocurrency. So that's where you can utilize whatever that you have. If you want to buy a laptop, a new laptop, if you want to get into this opportunity, buy a laptop with a graphic card. Minimum 6 gigabyte graphic card. So use a software, play and plug and play. Nice Hash is a plug and play. Just run it and then register your account and then transfer it. Very simple. You have this amount to transfer in the wallet. Go here. I think dashboard. Okay. You can go into here, Bitcoin. Here you can withdraw. You see the word withdraw? So here is where you can set up the account to withdraw. For example, this student, they set up to withdraw in Binance. But until, I think the Binance can only operate until middle of August. So it's not advisable for this student to transfer to Binance later on because maybe cannot convert to ringgit Malaysia lah. So problem. So I suggest student to open wallet. How to wallet is that go into add new withdrawal address and enter the Luno. So this is a very simple step. So once they want to withdraw, there is a minimum, right? So minimum is this amount. So this student is only have 0.005, which is not meeting the minimum requirement of BTC. That is why this student will convert BTC of here into Litecoin, LTC, which I use for myself. And I give you example what I did. For example, you have a Luno ITC, and this is what I get. So you can have minimum transfer to your wallet 55 ringgit. So when I have this 55 ringgit, I sell to Luno, and then Luno will bank into my Maybank account. So it's very simple, easy step. You don't need to, we call afraid to, to have your account exposed by any other. You only transact inside Luno, and only Luno will be the company that you will transact. So it's different than peer-to-peer, P2P. So in Binance, why they are not allowed to operate in Malaysia is because they have the peer-to-peer, where in the Binance, other people that is willing to buy or willing to sell, they can transact with each other and to sell the token. And it's very secure lah. So I think that's all the demonstration that I can tell. I'm willing to answer any question now.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much for the presentation, for the talk. So I think we have learned a lot, but we got some question here. And also, I think this is something new to myself. So there are a few questions here, which first one is from Dr. Dr. AA. I'm not sure AA to everyone. Okay. Salam, Doctor. Thanks for the knowledge. May you elaborate on the differences of consensus between POW and POS?
Okay.
Which one is for?
Okay.
POS is what? Point of sales?
Proof of stake. So recently,
Okay.
recently a coin Ethereum migrate is in their process to merge, not to merge, to convert their, we call consensus of transaction from proof of work, which I explained using the nodes to prove that the chain is correct, into proof of stake. So proof of stake means that it doesn't use the computer nodes to verify each of the chain in the blocks. So proof of stake requires internal notifiers that works to verify the transaction. So when a certain algorithm is being verified by proof of stake, miners cannot make money because it is the coins cannot be generated with proof of stake. So it is not worth to mine when an algorithm is proof of stake. So Ethereum is an example of you going to use proof of stake when it implement the EIP 116.
Okay, Doctor. There's another second question from Dr. Zakiri. Doctor, is crypto backed by any assets that generates value? Is crypto a money or ordinary token? From Dr. Zakiri.
Thank you very much for the question. As I said, when you look into crypto, I don't consider it as a currency. Now, why? Because if you look into the elements of currency, a currency is some we call physical asset that must be authorized by a certain regulators. For example, the central bank. So the central bank issues the currency to make it valuable, to make it worth, and to make it as a legal tender. Okay, so that's why when I talk about crypto, I don't consider it as a crypto asset, cryptocurrency, because it is speculative in words. If you use cryptocurrency, wow, everyone is willing to buy it. But if someone wants to use crypto asset, oh, people don't want to buy it because why? It must go to regulators. For example, in Malaysia, Securities Commission to validate. So in other words, a crypto asset is considered to be a valuable asset if there is a willing buyer to buy it. It's something like this. The real history of how these assets coming from the gaming environment, where someone who wants to play a game, they want to acquire certain asset in order for them to move into another level. So if someone doesn't acquire this asset, it cannot move towards another game. So there are these we call cards, memorabilia cards. People want to keep this memorabilia, and then they want, for example, baseball memorabilia cards. You want to keep, and then you put it as an asset. If you want to sell it, you will sell it in the platform. Okay, for example, eBay and what for example like that. So same thing as crypto. So crypto is a certain asset that have value where people want to buy, because crypto is being used to purchase or to use it as a payment for another instruments. For example, I want to buy right now, right, in the teenage or in the student right now, they are playing games, and a certain games they require a certain what we call um, character to play it, and then the character is being sold in the game but must be paid in Bitcoin. So someone must acquire the Bitcoin first, right? In order to buy the character. So this is where the value comes in of the crypto. So that's why crypto is not backed by cash, because crypto is a decentralized asset. It's an asset. Okay, someone that is want to buy, that is the value comes there. If someone wants to treat it as a currency or valuable currency, then the asset must be issued by central bank. It must be centralized. Means that it must be issued by the central bank. And this is where the digital currency comes in, which will be introduced by the central bank much sooner than expected, inshallah.
Okay, Doctor, thank you. I think another one is about, I think the same question as mine. Seems Luno can do quite the same as PayPal. How is it different between Luno and PayPal?
Okay, so Luno is based on you have to get the asset in crypto asset, Bitcoin, SRP, and LTC. But for PayPal or PayPal, okay, is like online banking. You do it on a cross-border basis, means that you want to pay books, you want to buy books. So when you want to buy books, you want to pay in US dollar, for example. So you use a platform to pay it, right? So if you want to purchase certain books, they in the website they don't have, for example, Maybank to you, or FPX, for example. So they offer whether you want to use PayPal as the medium of exchange. So it is based. PayPal is used based on US dollar. Okay, the dollar type. But soon PayPal is going to offer payments in crypto asset. Because it has the arrangement, the possibility, and also the customer that wants to use crypto as one of the mode of payment. However, you have to look here. Does PayPal is, if they want to operate it as a digital asset exchange, because once it offer a Bitcoin payment, they have to register with Security Commission Malaysia. So does PayPal have the right regulatory requirement? So I doubt that they will have. Only 3 digital asset exchanges is allowed so far.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. I think a lot have been covered here. For those who are developers like myself, I figure out that Luno got some extra features that I think we can leverage. It has APIs, facilities, application programming interface, which can further being developed and utilize the data that is generated in Luno. So feel free to explore.
One thing I want to suggest, if
Yeah,
anyone wants to
sure.
venture into commercialization, you can look into NFT, the non-fungible token, because if you are very creative, if you have certain arts that you want to sell, okay, you can sell it as an NFT token. So if you want to
Okay.
learn on NFT, then we need to have a 1-day course, and it is
Yeah,
not free.
okay, all right. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohizam. I think, anyway, maybe ICC will have to conduct another session, extra session, advanced Bitcoin or intermediate Bitcoin courses for those who are interested to learn lah after this. Yeah. Okay, any more question from the audience?
One thing I would just want to highlight, anyone wants to go into mining crypto, don't forget to pay your electricity bill.
Oh,
That
because it
is,
will involve a lot of what?
okay,
Because you
for
have to
example,
keep the PC running all the time.
yes, it is something like this. The machine that wants to run it, because if let's say a computer machine, minimum watt is 115 watt. Okay, so you must convert it into 24 hours. So you can look into the TNB bill to calculate the cost to run the computer for 24 hours. If you
Then
run 3
maybe
hours also can, but tak banyak lah dapat.
then maybe we can consider for the solar
Yes,
electricity
solar,
to be
yes,
installed.
solar, yes, you can use. However, the cost to put up solar is investment, but in the
Thank you
long
very much.
run, it will benefit. And this is where the commercialization ideas can come in. There's so many commercialization idea, but first step to do in getting involved in Bitcoin or blockchain transaction, open a account that is safe lah to open. Don't
Okay.
open thing that not safe.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. So, all right. So, if you like to, because we at ICC, we like to see demands. We always would like to see demand. If there are any demands, if you want to learn more about cryptography or Bitcoin or Fintech, so feel free to drop us an email. So maybe after this, we will conduct a session on Fintech. Dr. Mohizam can also assist us further on the advanced or intermediate topic on fintech. So you can also put in the chat as well. Okay. All right. So I think that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us. But before we end, so it's a photo session. I need everybody to turn on their cameras. And in the meantime, I have put a link there for the certificate. So please fill in the form to generate your certificate. So please, everybody, Azri,
Yeah.
tangkap
Okay. Uh,
okay, please everybody turn on your cameras. Okay. I would like to say thank you for everyone for having us today. Those who are from UUM, and also I can see Dr. Nursidi from Dr. Nursidi, my old friend from QUT, from UTM, Magic Act UTM. Okay, and then those from other universities as well. So thank you very much for having us today, for watching this ICC Tech Talk. So hope we can see you guys next time, inshallah. See you soon. Okay.
we still
Assalamualaikum.
waiting. We still waiting because just a few switch on
Okay,
the
Azri. Yeah.
video. Can everybody switch on the video, please, for a while? Still waiting.
Okay, tak apa Azri. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. One more. Thumbs up, please. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Terima kasih
Thank
semua.
you,
Thank you Dr. Nasidi that
guys.
join.
Yeah,
Kawan
thank you very
lama.
much.
Okay,
Well done,
Assalamualaikum.
well done. Nice sharing. Thank you, UMICC.